Okay, so you know how I love me some Rise of the Triad, and they announced a remaster of it at Realms Deep 2020. And it was being handled by Hatred developers Destructive Creations for some reason.
I just fucking hate this world.
And so I was on Twitter, X, a few months before that was announced, and Kaiser, man behind the Kex engine that's been used to make outstanding port after outstanding port of classic games, and also Blood Fresh Supply, which probably would have come out fine if not for Atari being shit. And there's rumors it's getting updated again. Rumors, unconfirmed, because Night Dive got acquired by Atari, so anyway, in 2019, months before I was bemoaning the lack of a decent port for Rise of the Triad, Kaiser says he's working on a Rise of the Triad port, but then that goes away when 3D Realms starts making one, which they show off in the summer of 2020. And then never again. But then 3D Realms and Apogee split, and Apogee got the rights and everything went quiet for a while. Turns out it was then placed into the hands of New Blood and Night Dive, so the creative hands working on this thing are now world-renowned remaster studio Night Dive and a company staffed by some of the major forces behind ROT 2013. When I found out that they'd gotten the project and Dave Oshry sent me a check to make a video about it that was post-dated to 2036 when they release Fallen Aces, get it? Because he doesn't pay me because all the New Blood money gets put into a pile and burned on immersive sims. I didn't have any doubts that the product they delivered would be good. I didn't think it would be this good. Rise of the Triad Ludicrous Edition is a maximum effort port for a game I assumed would get widescreen support in a console release, and maybe they clean it up a little and throw it up on Steam. But no, they did everything. They did everything! This port includes The Hunt Begins, Dark War, Extreme Rot, which, no, we're not playing for this video. I'm never playing Extreme Rot again. But also a new episode, The Hunt Continues. Everything, and I mean fucking everything, related to Rise of the Triad in any official capacity in the history of the game is included in this package. And then some. If you're a ROT fan, all three of you out there, you want this. I love ROT, and I don't even think it deserved to be treated this well. But then there's also the new expansion, a rewritten renderer with prettier lighting, 1,000 options for the heads-up display that now includes Doom-style character mugshots for all the characters, including the fucking dog. There's a new level editor. Hold on one second. Now we're just gonna put a couple of happy little waterfalls here. Nice big open area. Nah, I'm kidding, it's all monks again! You may have noticed from that clip that the game sounds different. This is because I'm running it with alternate sounds made by Andrew H.U.N.T, because why not? I guess some people hated the original weapon sound, so they got replaced along with some very wet, juicy jib sounds. And H.U.N.T's soundtrack from ROT 2013? Also here. There's actually 4 different ways you can listen to ROT's amazing soundtrack, and only one of them sounds like farts. It's supposed to sound like that. And I was just looking around in the accessibility options, right, and they even added an option to turn off the annoying low health sound. This one. Yeah, they let you turn that off. And with the new optional HUD, you can see your health represented by a number and not just somewhat uninformative little green things. If there was one stupid thing that I would request as a ROT fan that I would never have expected to happen in my wildest dreams, it would be restoring the alternate enemies that you saw in the credits of the game, the ones that they cut in 1994 because of RAM limitations. That seemed like a pipe dream. Like they would have to get those graphics from Apogee, like all the images from their motion capture sessions from 29 years ago, get artists to clean them up, then get people to voice the new guards. So they did that. Yes, one of them is Gianni. How did you guess? I don't think I'd be making a video about this unless the remaster was so over the top in its presentation and new features. Art has been expanded for widescreen, like they drew the rest of the Excalibur so it wouldn't cut off in widescreen. Oh, they did everything. They included everything. And those new levels? The hunt continues as the result of a bunch of New Blood and Night Dive employees getting together to make a new episode. And I expected maybe like 10 levels, and then they told me there would be like 15 of them, and there are in fact like 24. Because making Rise of the Triad levels is fairly easy, especially with the new editor, and I hope all you kids out there pick it up and make some wild Kaizo shit with it. I'm not gonna go super in-depth with these because some of them are pretty simple. We got maps from Kaiser himself, as well as Simon Rance and Leon Zawada, the former Rot 2013 and Medieval devs, and makers of the Doom TC Return of the Triad, which is also included with Ludicrous Edition because of course it is. The opening map is a fun little romp by David Szymanski, yeah, the Iron Lung guy. He knows Markiplier. It's a simple opening level called Fortress of the Darned, which is a very Rise of the Triad name. Here's what the new optional auto map looks like. It practically reveals all secrets to you, so that's fun. David Szymanski likes to have his maps wrap around on each other, so if you're backtracking, you don't get too confused. And that's just good design. It's in dusk, too. Next up, our first Kaiser map, Close Quarters. I thought his grenade had hit the corner. Close Quarters, as you'd expect, is a tight indoor map full of hallways and traps. I also like it, but most of the maps are good, and only a few are kinda bland. The next map is another Kaiser map, and it's the opposite. It's called Out in the Open. It's the first one that gave me a lot of trouble, but I did play on the hardest skill because it's Rot, and I can, so I shouldn't complain too much. Next up, Pane in the Glass, which I would like to remind everyone is not my pun. I did not make that pun. This one is pretty basic, a bit less impressive than the ones we've seen so far. Echoes some of the design of In the Thick of It from the original game, except for all the robots. Next up, Tom's Halls. Again, this is not my pun. I'm not making these puns. That's just how Rise of the Triad levels are named. I'm not waiting until the end to deal with these enforcers. They can't throw grenades through these windows and they're just gonna damage themselves with splash damage. This one is where you really start to see some of the new engine features that the game has, like being able to put multiple textures on a wall and showing off the new lighting effects. These little circles of dynamic light look amazing, honestly. The new renderer doesn't sacrifice color accuracy or anything. It just looks great. The game has never looked this good. Unfortunately, the engine-killing Jibs cheat, EKG, no longer kills the engine. I wandered around this one for a while until I realized I didn't need the silver key to exit and that they did not, in fact, hide a necessary key behind a secret wall. Also, this room is really pretty. I like it a lot. What's next? Finally, some headroom. This level made me cry. Not for lack of quality, but because it's just kind of mean. I think it'd make old Tom and Joe laugh. A lot of enforcers. I'd use the dancing enforcers, but they use those in the promotional material for the fucking remaster. Katie went along and sent them the green screen for that. Thanks, Katie.
Eat, lad.
And it's also a boss level. General Darien is hiding in here, and to get the key to access him, you need to go through all this fucking mess. Good luck, asshole! Next up, The Courtyard, by Rise of the Triad veteran Simon Rance, who I feel understood the assignment the most out of all the level designers, though this isn't my favorite level. It's just particularly ludicrous. Not as balls to the wall hard as an Extreme Rod level, but with a whoa factor when you run into a bunch of ballista craft. It feels like it belongs the most out of all the levels, and then it ends on this ridiculous and adorable GAD-covered suspension bridge thing. I just love this. Darkest War is here to show off the new lighting effects in full. Cool. I think this is the first appearance of the monks in the expansion, and you know what they did for this remaster? They nerfed the monks. They gave you the option to turn their original health pool on, but I don't do that because fuck the monks. They deserve to have half health, so one missile can take care of them. Next up is another Szymanski joint, Missed Opportunity, a fun little wide-open foggy map. Every Rod episode needs one, right? Good map. Not as pretty as the last few, but I'm not going to sit here and say that David Szymanski doesn't know how to properly design a level. Oh shit, I got a this level is toast, and it unlocked a cheat code. You can now see the ones you've unlocked in the menu because Rod has lots and lots of cheat codes. Neat feature. Next up, Ain't No Mountain, and oh yes, bring the pain. You might think this is too many enemies, but counterpoint, the firebomb. Next map is Pineapple Salad, a fun one, a little confusing because of the intricate design and layout, but not impenetrable and still quite fun. Expect enforcers. Oh my god, it's Snakehead Oscuro! After him!
Yes.
This follows the story of The Hunt Continues, which I swear to God has a story and it's actually pretty funny. It takes place after the story of Extreme Rise of the Triad, after El Oscuro reversed time so that he could make a more dickish island of traps to stop the Hunt team, but then he got defeated a second time.
As El Oscuro writhes in agony from his second defeat, time lurches backwards. But what's this? He wakes up in a monastery he does not recognize amid the panicked shouts of his minions.
Oh my god, here's the new blood contribution to this whole thing. Memes!
Last time, Oscuro had weeks to prepare. This time, it seems his fate is out of his hands.
I think now is the time to put up the spoiler tag. Katie, spoiler tag. Thank you. I'll say it now. If you want to play Rot, there's no better way than Ludicrous Edition. Christ will be missed. The rest of the level isn't quite as malicious. Oh no, never mind, they updated the level while I wasn't looking and added this. Though the main area you have to backtrack through is patrolled by ballista craft. It's not as hard as it sounds. Mission Void Warranty, like the first level of Episode 3 in Dark War, has robots. Like a lot of robots. The exit, which you can see from the start, is guarded by the most robots I've ever seen together at once. There are places to dodge their attacks and you don't really have to destroy all of them. But I did. Next up, Landfill, my absolute favorite level. It's super fun, a nice challenge, it's themed in a way I don't think I've seen in a Rot level before, and it uses all the level hazards really well to fit that theme. Fire traps especially. It has a room with enforcers and ballista craft that isn't just sadism. Good job. Flabby Road. Again, not my pun. Also, it's mostly monks! But also, with their lower health and readily available missile weapons, there's a nice catharsis to it. Follow the Hunter is the boss level that brings back our old pal the NME, but with a twist that I kinda fucking love. Instead of facing him in a straight fight in a big open room, or in the case of Extreme Rod, just fucking pain and suffering, you have to run through some very tricky halls that are full of ballisticraft, monks, and other hazards, hit some switches, and then trap the enemy in a kill box where he'll get hit with fireballs, where you then have to survive an onslaught of guards until he's dead. It's novel, interesting, and I really like the idea of it. It's the kind of creativity I hope to see when people start making workshop content. Staff meeting. It's all monks! Again! You grab a lot of dark staffs and kill a lot of monks. It's a gimmicky level to be sure, but Rot had a lot of those too. I'm looking at you, Ride 'em Cowboy, The Room, Monkey Business, Nothing But Nat, Getting the Drop, A Bolder Vision. What you see is what it is. Next, Dial M for Monk. Fuck you. It's a good level, but, you know, monks. Casual Sunday Barbecue. Anything but. An absolute barn burner of a level. It's tough and sometimes mean, so it does belong in the last episode. Just look at this double flame jet nonsense. I don't even know how that's possible. It's the second to last level in the pack, and it lives up to that responsibility. It's big, tough, fun, and ends with chasing that bitch Oscuro out to the final level. Requiem for a Team. Again, I did not name these levels. A super tall, super imposing level full of monks and enforcers where you have to destroy Oscuro's eggs again. We don't have to fight regular time sink Oscuro from before, just his heads. And honestly, his heads are pretty easy. Once I get him over lava pits and have asbestos armor so I'm immune to it, I can empty one dark staff into him and he's done. And I missed a couple of times. So here's where things get weird. You kids all know about the multiverse craze in the movies right now? Well, because Extreme Rot opened the doors to that time manipulation nonsense in a separate timeline, Oscuro wakes up again with the Hunt waiting to kill him again. Forever. He is doomed to get his ass kicked forever by the Hunt for all eternity. I can't think of winning harder than that. These are placed here because when I was recording footage for this game, they hadn't placed secret level exits into the levels yet. So I don't know where they are. Except for one. But I'm not telling you where it is. Except if you recognize where this screenshot is from. Oh look, a remake of Doom E1M1, beating whoever was going to make one and put it on the workshop within a day of the game's release like any other game with a level editor ever.
Map. Evil.
This isn't as evil as you'd think, and it doesn't hold a candle to something like Sky Tunnels. Although this ending... Oh, you motherfucker. Leon's scary basement is actually way more evil. More fire, spinning blades, an exit guarded by enforcers, and you might not think this is too evil, but it gives you the worst choice imaginable. Face the enforcers, or listen to their horrible overlapping pain sounds as these spinning blades eventually hit them. Not necessarily kill them, that takes much longer, but hit them, or firebomb them. I chose the firebomb, but there's one more, and I can't think of a more fitting way to end a video, because I'm an uncreative hack who sucks at video games. We're not just doing memes, we're going back to the sacred texts of New Blood and Rise of the Triad. This, right here, this is why there's a spoiler tag in this video, because you aren't ready for the power, the majesty.
Come on, come on.
My God, he lives. Big John lives. For a minute.